Okay, well, welcome to our parent workshop. And today we're so excited to have Amy here talking to us about daily routine or daily rhythms. So thank you so much for sharing your time, Amy.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. It's a subject that I love to talk about. And so if you'd like, if you're joining us live, to grab a piece of paper or something to write on, we're going to do a few journaling exercises. So yeah, I I am excited to be here. And let's see, there we go. I'm new at all this, so I am excited to learn how to do a slide while talking on Zoom. So my name is Amy, and I'm a social artist in Anchorage. And I started my love of ritual and rhythm and traditions when I learned about the Waldorf philosophy. At the time, I was a teacher, and I was looking at ways that I could bring it into my classroom, because I just saw how beautiful it went to supporting young kids and their lives and their brains and their heart and their minds. And so I started researching how to bring it into my own life, with my family. And soon after this, I decided to quit teaching in the public schools, and I was staying at home, and I decided to start something to combine my love of nature and Waldorf into what a lot of people might know as forest school. I was interested in starting a program for young kids to come into nature weekly with me as just a facilitator. And at the time, I think forest schools were fairly new, so that didn't happen. But what happened was I met some amazing parents that wanted to join in with the process, and we created a community that did this. And so we went into the woods, every week for 3 years, and we sang the songs, and we did celebrations with the seasons. And it just really made me realize how much I love bringing people together. So now I bring people together through gatherings and workshops, centered around storytelling and art and music and ceremony. So a little bit about me. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, how did this whole process start? What did I start thinking about to create these special rhythms or routines in my life? And so that was kind of what I wanted to share with you guys today, is my process for developing the daily rhythms, and how I brought that into creating a home life with intention, and then ways of exploring the seasons and how that can help bring reflection and awareness. And something new that I am exploring right now is rites of passage. And so I'm going to talk just a little bit about what they are and how you can integrate them into your lives. So a little bit more about my journey. I don't know if anybody else has done this, but when I learned about Waldorf, I really dived into it. And at the time, there was just like blogs, and I was like, I must have all the exact toys and do all the exact things perfectly. And I was kind of missing the point of all of it. I was thinking more of on the concepts of it and less of like how it was supposed to come into my life and make me feel, and what I wanted out of that. And so I say all this and what I'm going to share with you as knowing that we are busy parents and there's a lot on our plate. And sometimes we can see what other people are doing and see just the beauty of it all, and just to be patient and understanding that, it's less of like doing it perfect and less doing it for yourself and making yourself happy. So let me see. Oops, sorry. So I had like a little life experiment. I noticed when my life revolved around with parenting and homeschooling and being with my kids that I was continuously putting out fires or like constantly thinking about my kids' futures and what we needed to be doing and what activities and skills. And then also when I just started doing daily tasks and everything just became kind of autopilot and I felt overwhelmed. I noticed that if I could observe myself and then I could step back and start reflecting on what was going on, what was my feelings, what did I want to feel, and what needs I needed to notice that weren't being met. And there I could explore what actions to take based on this reflection. And so I'm going to have you guys do this a little bit, and I'm going to show you a page. So if you have a blank piece of paper, if you would like to fill it out and write our homeschool why are you homeschooling? And then 2 columns, one for you and one for your kids. And we're gonna, I'm gonna give you a sheet of paper that shares the needs and feelings, like a whole list of them. It's really awesome. And then the value, strength, and skills that you yourself want to develop and ones you want to develop to support your kids developing. And so, yeah, if you have a moment to jot that down, and then I'm gonna share with you the questions. So maybe give me a thumbs up, Megan, if you are writing this and you've written it all down. Okay, so these are some of the questions that I like to go over, and I think you can apply these to anything in your life. I was thinking while I was making this that you could do this for your relationship with your loved ones or your work or anything in your life. So the why of why you homeschool, and then how do you want to feel in your body while homeschooling? And how do I want my house or home to feel? And then what are your homeschooling needs? And then it's kind of fun to do this, what you think maybe your child has their feelings, what do they want to feel and what their needs are. Sometimes it's fun to even ask them how they want to feel when they're homeschooling and what their needs are. So, and this question just kind of paints a picture. So you can like have daydreams of what you want to hold in your mind of how you want your days to look. Okay, so here's a chart, and I love these charts, and I hope you can see the words. Is that it's nonviolent communication, and one side is your needs. And what I've done in the past is I've just gone through what the words and seen what stands out to me. Like for me, connection is huge, and so I would write that down on my sheet of paper of what I need in homeschooling is a lot of connection with others. And then you can do that the same with feelings of what feelings you want to feel during your time together with your kids. And so I'll give you guys about 5 minutes or maybe 2 minutes to, jot some ideas down. Does anybody have any questions or kind of understand what the process is?
I love this. And it is a little small. I mean, I'm
Is it?
definitely reaching forward to see it. Would it be possible to get copies of these documents that I can attach or link? Or
Sure,
if you
yeah.
have, if these got pulled from a website, if you have the link to that, and then I can later get that added to our videos so people can see this a little more easily. But I love this. Definitely resonating with a lot of those words.
Yeah, but there's a website on here on the bottom of the page. And this is a great tool for like communicating and really reflecting what your needs and feelings are when you're arguing or having a challenge with another person. And that's where this comes from. But I thought this would be a good way of picking different things. maybe I'll give you guys a minute. Do you think that will be enough time, Megan? Yeah, maybe less than a minute. So I look at this and I actually have it on my fridge because it's so helpful in so many different ways. And so let me see. So once I identify the feelings I want to have and my like the needs that I have, and then the ones that I feel my kids have, and I'm going to move to the next slide. I did this when I first started Nature Song, and what I discovered is that I really wanted connection and joy, ease, celebration of life, creativity, and growth. And so for myself, when I could identify what I really, really wanted in life, I could then tie down what I wanted to do daily or monthly or yearly and make those into actions. And so my focus was really to slow down and to explore art and nature and traditions outside of mainstream culture, to surround myself and my family in a supportive community and explore personal growth with others. And so with Nature Song and with those deep needs, I first started the Nature Song Forest School. And I just wanted to share a few pictures just to share with you. If anybody, I was just a mom and who had this really, really desire to make a strong community of people that I saw regularly and weekly so that I could build those relationships with them. And so this is what we started and did for 3 years. And so like in the pumpkin picture, it made like a little like a festival of Halloween, and the kids went, and it was like a pumpkin village. And then with all the kids holding hands was a May Day celebration where the community came and we played group games and we made streamers, and we had bubbles and music, and it was just like so much fun. And I was so lucky to build such strong relationships because of this just continuous people showing up and knowing each other and what we needed support in. And then also because we saw each other regularly, we were able to have those deep conversations with each other, and not just playing, catch up with each other on what was going on with life. And this then trickled on to something that I love and would really, really love to see spread for everyone is to pull a group of women that because one of my need was connection and personal growth. And we met monthly together, and we would just do check-ins with each other of like what was going on in our lives. And what was really impactful was that reflective listening, hearing what was going on with others and getting a sense that, oh, I'm not alone in this life. And I could listen and hear how other people were handling and experiencing life. And it was just really nurturing and supportive. And then this brought into Nature Song. Oops, sorry about that. Me seeing what it was like to do this as a group of women and wanting to bring this to girls in the community, just bringing girls together to have those check-ins, to explore social and emotional wellness, like subjects that are deep on their mind or experiences that they're having as a young girl, and talking them out with other girls that, they knew from the circle, but maybe weren't necessarily close friends, so that you could be really open and honest. And and I still do this. I offer Saturday workshops where we create art and we have these topics. And again, it was just my need of just wanting personal growth and supporting other girls in this like peer mentoringship kind of model. I keep doing that. And so these are areas that I'm focusing on now with Nature Song. And I know as homeschool families and just any people right now, I think with COVID, we've been so isolated for so long that we're longing to come back together with each other and in connection. And so I'm really interested in finding people that would like to start a community of learning where there's hands-on learning and field trips and lots of different skills are taught, and it's community-centered, peer mentorship and community gatherings. Also, I'm excited this summer to offer and see if the neighborhoods in Anchorage would like to have backyard storytelling where we invite our neighbors that we might not know on a, we might say hi to once in a while, but give them a reason to come and start offering that as like a rhythm in our lives of gathering with our neighbors and sharing stories and music and food. And that way, our neighbors become more centered in our lives and our routine and rhythm. I long for the day, where the grandma down the street, my kid could just go to and like say, hi neighbor. And, like that relationship that's built when we know each other is so special. And so, sorry. Oops, I'm not very good at this. So this was an example. So I was just giving some more ideas with rhythm that you could bring into your life if maybe connection was one of your needs. And I'm curious, maybe we could just do like a brainstorming session, because I know you guys probably, people on here, have so many wonderful ideas to gather people and connect. One of the ones that I love are weekly family meetings. And I go in and out just like the seasons of doing these with my kids. Sometimes it's not the right timing and there's too much going on, but I've done them where there's a special treat and we check in, and often we share like praises of what we notice the other person has done for the family, or a gratitude and a thankfulness to a family member. And then we explore special topics like, oh, I noticed we're having a hard time with communicating, and let's go over, like, let's learn about with those needs and feelings. There's this card deck that you can buy that you can practice and play with the words, and like it could be like the word jealous, and like you can act it out, and see if the people can guess it, so that the kids are learning that emotional awareness. So I love that part of connection. I have a friend in town that would have a weekly bean night where she would make a pot of beans and everyone would bring, the sour cream and the cheese and all the goodies. And so it was easier for her because it was beans that she needed to make, and it was so it was more doable to continue doing it, weekly. And another thing that I love about connection with outdoors and nature is like creating a space near your home that you can bring natural objects to. My daughter loves to go around cutting the flowers in our yard and putting them in vases. And then we put it on this little spot that we have where we can go and meditate or just be quiet and still with our thoughts. And so I share these as a way of, giving ideas of what you could think of to connect with your needs and feelings. And I don't know if anybody else, if you want to just add something to the chat of something you do that you love that brings connection to your family or to friends or with yourself, nature, add that to the chat, and then we can, I'll read it out. I did the same with joy. I love the idea of random gatherings where we do something out of the ordinary. I just really love the idea of, and I have so many friends that are just kind of spontaneous and will be playful with me. And I really want to do this community of snow people building where there's a park near my house where I think it'd be so fun to have a group of us, like 20 people rolling some snowballs into snowmen, and then like having them all waving at the cars going by. I think that would be fun. Did you see that comment that came up? Let me see. Someone wrote, let's see, monthly book club with women friends. Yes. Campfire storytelling. We add our own parts of the story and each person adds a sentence or two. Love it. Thank you. I don't know if you guys have anything to add, or do you have anything to add to Joy? I was talking to a friend, her name's Kenzie, and she does a lot of this coaching wise of supporting people that really want to bring rhythm into their lives and kind of being their cheerleader and idea generator. And she created a Good Morning Sunshine playlist that she plays while she's making coffee. And it's just carefully crafted songs that uplift her and get her ready for her day. And I thought that was a great way to experience joy. Book party with kids. We gather blankets and pillows and read together and have ice cream. Oh man, I want to come to that. That sounds awesome. Okay, so going back to our journal. So now that you have reflected on your reason, your why for homeschooling, and outlined your needs and wants, your values and interests, maybe take a few minutes just to kind of think of ideas or rhythms or rituals that you would like to put your energy towards to bring that out in your life. Yeah, and also sometimes just involve your kids. I would love to hear what they have to say about this. So I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes or so to just kind of jot down some ideas that you might have. All right. I do notice though, like I said, when I first started adding a lot of rhythm and tradition into my house and like ideas, that it was overwhelming. So I wrote, pick 1 or 2 things you'd like to try and personally explore, just to slowly introduce it, or maybe this is part of your life. And for me, I was like thinking of all the things. Oh yeah, I used to do this. I should bring this back into my life. So sometimes this is just a reminder of all the things that are special to you that you like to involve and do with your kids. So the next part was nature-based celebrations. And the reason I like just acknowledging and noticing the cycles of nature is it helps me with this reflection time. When I was doing the women's circle with the women in that circle, we would meet on the new moon, which was really nice because it made me start noticing the cycles of the moon. And it was always like a reminder of like, oh yeah, it's time. And so each new moon was a time to reflect on the past month and to pull out what was working for my life and what did I want to focus on for the next month. And so I really like just noticing the seasons. Also with the seasons, I don't know if anyone is like me, but like in the winter time, I noticed myself kind of getting snuggly in the house. And it's more of a time for me to kind of dream and think about the summer and spring and what I want to do. And I do a lot of writing. And so noticing the seasons and acknowledging them helps me to just keep this like rhythm and updating what I would like to see and do in my life. And here are a few of the past celebrations I've done with families and my kids. One of them is the May Day poll where we did that. It's a picture from that May Day celebration, and the kids, they were just cute. We like walked around it together, holding the ribbon. And then the one with the sunset was a fall equinox celebration where we all came and we had a potluck, and we just watched this amazing sunset. It was just gorgeous. And then the ones with the candles are of my son and my daughter. You can see there. It's a solstice spiral, and what that is, it's a Waldorf tradition where kids come and they start a spiral, and they start at the beginning, and they walk around to the middle portion, and then they light their candle, and then they walk out. And it's such a relevant and beautiful way of celebrating that time of year. It looks like someone else here does the same. Let's see. Oh, Megan, you did. Let's do a solstice spiral this winter. It was really lovely. Yes, I love them. And then an advent calendar where each week is focused on one of the first is like shells and rocks. And we just kind of have gratitude towards those things in our lives. And then the next week, I believe, or one of the weeks is animals. And then another week is plants, and humans is the last. And it's just time for a reminder for me, mainly as a way to come together with my family eating and have gratitude towards these things in our lives. A lot. Yeah, that's why I love seasonal celebrations. It just keeps a reminder of, oh, why I'm thankful and what I have to acknowledge. And so on top of that, and what I'm exploring now, as my son is 12 and he is slowly going to enter into adolescence, is bringing rhythm and opportunities to explore this transition from being a child to adolescent. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with rites of passage, but I wrote the definition. It's a ceremony or event marking an important stage in someone's life. And so there's a lot of rites of passage. There's the ones that we mainly focus on in our society: is marriage, retirement, death, birthdays. But this can be a way of acknowledging things that happen in our lives and personal growth. But yeah, so I love the idea of looking and even celebrating these transitions or acknowledging them in some way. And so personally, when my second child was born, Ava, I had a blessing way, and it was a little different than a baby shower in that it had a lot of like ritual and kind of symbolism to it, and that was really special. So if you know of anyone about to have a baby, that's a fun thing to look up and to explore. And same with grief ceremonies. There are a lot of cultures that really acknowledge grief in a way that's communal, where people come and they acknowledge what's happened and the bigness of it all. And I just recently took a 9-month course with on rites of passage and ceremony, and several of the people in that class were learning how and exploring how to create these ceremonies for people that have had someone pass in their life, to acknowledge it in a very meaningful and healing way. And the same with a divorce ceremony. Just that's such a big change in our lives, and to acknowledge it. I did one for a friend, and she acknowledged her relationship, and then what she wanted to grow from, and what she wanted to acknowledge, what she learned from that experience, and then her intentions for her future. And it was really beautiful. And I've seen couples that are divorcing doing the same thing, where they have a ceremony together and they invite family to join them, so that there's closure. And yeah, so and I probably won't have us journal on this, but I just kind of wrote some ideas of thoughts you could think about of what transitions are taking place in your life, for the lives of your family, or the life of your family now or in the next few months. And with that, what values and skills or awarenesses are needed to support this change? And a lot of the rites of passage had to do with cultural traditions and how you can bring that into your life. I know for me, during this program, I spent a lot of time going back and actually learning about my ancestors and who they were and how they celebrated and how they connected to their lives. And I learned, that my families were Quakers, and learned how some of the traditions in the Quaker religion, and thought of how I could bring that into my daily lives. The Quakers do a lot of silent, everyone in the room just sitting there quietly and observing in community. And I thought that's really kind of special to do that together. I haven't quite introduced that to my family, but something I think would be interesting to do. And the one I'm noticing, because my son is turning towards adolescence, I notice he's has a whole new responsibility. He's taking responsibility. Like when it snows, he goes out without me asking, and he shovels the driveway. And it's like, whoa, it's so cool to see. And he's also just kind of coming into himself of what his beliefs are and what he wants to think about. And so with the coming of age ceremony, and I don't really like the name, but it's a common name that people use. It's just acknowledging, exploring the transition that is taking place. And so I really would love to bring this idea to our culture now. It's been something that, Indigenous people have used in their lives of a rites of passage. And I believe back a long time ago, we had a lot of more mentoringship between people that were turning into going into adulthood, and they were being mentored by people in a skill set. But just if you have kids in this age range, just kind of going and just kind of identifying, what do you want to pass on to them? What knowledge about puberty or menstruation, sexuality, civil responsibility, values, I put responsibilities a lot, but I guess that's a big part of it, right? And how do you want to introduce that to them? What do you want them to know and take from their time exploring this time of their life? And also as a parent, lots of changes take place during this time, right? Letting go of how a child might have interacted with you when they were young. It's a big shift. So, and with that, I really love the idea of having a ceremony. And I've been working on ideas, especially for girls, of how we can introduce menstruation and acknowledge it in this like celebrational way of I remember when I was kind of more of a quiet hush hush kind of thing. And there's a lot of people now, not a lot, but it's becoming a thing to acknowledge it and make it into a ceremony. So physical symbols such as women in your family writing letters to your daughter and telling them about how they love them and what values you see in them and any wisdom they've passed, and just like loving them and giving them this like beautiful keepsake of importance. And this can be done at a ceremony, at a place where you gather the people that you love in your lives, and you give your daughter a gift, and you acknowledge what all you can write, or you could say it out loud. And there's often, especially in Australia and New Zealand, there's circles where girls can go and really learn about it in a really healing and special way of sharing that information with other girls and making it special. And so with that, though, it's very important to like follow the needs of your child. Some girls would really, really not want that to be a big thing. And others, they might just want like to go shopping and make a special day that celebrates them. And so, yeah, I think that is it. Let me, I'm making you guys sick. Okay. That's all I have. I do a lot of this as a social artist, and the programs I create are sometimes paid, sometimes not paid. I'm putting in grants for things to just to bring this awareness of celebrating rites of passage and ceremony, and bringing more communities together, neighborhoods, people in neighborhoods together. And so I just put my website where you can see community projects. And also I'm starting something called Anchorage Community School, which will be that community learning with mentors and field trips and such. And it's blossomed from my idea to a lot of people's ideas who want to maybe transition from public school to something else. So yeah, that's it for me. I don't know if anybody has any questions or reflections on anything.
I think I just wanted to say, Amy, how much I appreciate some of the really specific questions and like the inventories. I think I can very quickly agree. Oh, I love paying attention to rhythm and wanting to find good ways of rhythm and ritual and recognition, noticing my life and my needs and my kids' needs as we work through homeschooling together. But I think you just did a beautiful job of laying out how to not just kind of be a victim of those feelings or even of those needs, but how to take inventory of them, how to narrow what can feel very overwhelming, and then how to take steps to feed those things. I just really appreciate it. It felt very equipping. And I love the idea of more rites of passage celebration, and that the context of how you're presenting it lets you really build that however it is truly celebrating to you. Like, I, growing up, was someone who didn't like, if you'd asked me if I enjoyed ceremony, I would absolutely say no. I was dragged through formally walking for my high school graduation and actively fled and avoided my college graduation ceremony because that was very much not a setting where I felt that personally being lifted up. But since then, I've learned to adjust what ceremony looks like doing the solstice spiral. That was so much more personal and community focused and expressive and participatory. So I've done several things like that more recently, and that's made me realize the type of ceremony that is more broad in our culture, is not one I connect with, but that doesn't mean that ceremony isn't important to me. So this was really helpful and validating, I think, to explore how to embrace ceremony in a way that expresses and celebrates the immediate person or community that you're in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I love that you said participation wise, because I think that's huge in it. I noticed too the kind of the things that are where I'm just sitting there and I'm just kind of one of the many. I'm it's less personal to me, and I don't. Yeah, I feel there's more meaning when I'm participating. So yes, yeah. So thank you. Yeah, and I I I on my page I do several things like that, backyard storytelling. I would love if anyone on here loves storytelling and wants to have deeper connections with their neighbors. I'm going to start posting and building a little kit for not for parents, but for people who wanted to host and have like the invites for them to print out or write so they don't have to think it all up, and how to go about opening like a storytelling circle and how to close it. And I just would love to see little pockets of neighborhoods, just like meeting neighbors and enjoying storytelling together. So yeah, stay tuned.
I love that too. So I will link your website, and I did pull up and find the specific links to the feelings and needs inventories that you used. So
Okay.
I'll link those in the description when I post this video too, so everyone will
Yeah.
have all of that and be able to walk through this and have those resources right there for them. So thank you so much. And I feel like I'm going to want to go back. I'm a slow thinker, I think.
Yeah.
And so that was great, like a great pace presentation wise. I'm going to want to go back and rewatch the presentation, because I want to do more work on those thoughts, especially with the inventory sitting right in front of me. So I'm excited to use it. I think this will benefit others and help provide words to express those needs. And that's something then that people in their community, family members, or even sponsored teachers can then help problem solve and look at, well, what fulfills this need? How can we bring some balance or enrichment to this? So thank you again for sharing. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing about the Storytime resources.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone.